Fear, shock and awe. The Pan archetype. Police and enforcement agency personnel. When dealing with the police, you're at a big disadvantage because there is a level of intimidation, however legitimate. There is a feeling of shock that you've been questioned or arrested. There is a fear of arrest. There are normally two officers. There is a fear of awe in that the police are representing the government authority. Police officers wear a uniform, usually dark blue. They wear a badge of authority. They are trained in physical force and in exercising authority, and they usually carry weapons in the form of a pistol, pepper spray and truncheon, as well as handcuffs. They are taught to speak with authority, to take control and ask penetrating questions. You experience fear and confusion because they are trained experts in what they are doing and you are not trained in dealing with the situation. However innocent you may be, you are in shock and easily put into a level of enchantment, and in that state there is a natural tendency to submit and feel you are guilty. Go into negotiation mode. The defence here is to go into negotiation mode and understand that they are doing their job and are subject to constraints. Slow things down, be polite, treat your interaction as a negotiation and find out what their concerns are. If the matter looks like getting serious, get legal representation. Courts. Appearing in court can easily put you under an enchantment. There is a feeling of awe in the presence of authority. The court is generally high-ceilinged and imposing. It is quiet. The judge or magistrate is elevated above you, sitting below a royal coat of arms or other emblem of state. This higher physical level and emblem of state authority are designed to reinforce the tribunal's authority over you. The judge may be robed, and there are elements of ritual in the entry of the judge, the exchange of bows, the formal forms of address, the formality of the order of proceedings, the deference of the court officials and advocates, and so on. Also, criminal courts quite literally have the smell of fear about them, and your sense of smell is directly connected to your unconscious. Once again, you just have to be aware that these can put you under an enchantment. Think of yourself as having a role to play. Keep focused and keep a cool head. School and university exams. When you go into examinations, you should focus with the conscious mind. You should become utterly focused on the exam paper and what you need to do to put all the information down. You will need to concentrate to stay in your conscious mind for 3 hours straight, or whatever time the exam takes, and shut everything else out. What you do not want to do is to go into some trance based on fear or anxiety that will sabotage you. If you are afraid of that happening, you should learn your work and rehearse the exam. If you cannot understand the work, try and get a tutor or get a group of friends and pool your knowledge. If you are still anxious, seek help from a hypnotherapist or some other person who can steady you and give you confidence and the ability to focus. If this does not work, it may be your unconscious does not want you to succeed. If that is happening, you need to see a hypnotherapist and ask the unconscious what the problem is. It may be your unconscious feels you are unworthy of succeeding, or it may be that you really, deep down, do not want to go into the profession you are pursuing. It is critical for you, when starting out on a career, to see a good careers counsellor and ensure the chosen occupation fits your skills, values and interests, as well as enabling you to earn a living. If you follow the wrong path, the chances are you will not be very good at what you do, you will find your occupation difficult, you will be unhappy, and you will make others unhappy. Large organisations. Tendency to adopt the values of the organisation. When you work for an organisation, you can easily fall into an enchantment. It is a little like being in the army. You unquestioningly adopt the values of the organisation. You do this for survival in part. As Vance Packard, author of The Hidden Persuaders, wrote, "People who coalesce into groups, as any general knows, are easier to guide, control, cope with, and herd." Working as a team with your workmates is an archetypal thing. It harks back to the hunter-gatherer days when men cooperated to hunt animals and women cooperated to gather food plants and raise children. But it is important that the mores of the organisation accord with your private values, or alternatively, that you can separate them from your private and internal life. You may have to do a job which you consider unethical because it is necessary to support yourself or your family. If that is the case, I would recommend doing some concurrent benevolent activity, perhaps some sort of charity work, to balance the loss of self-esteem caused by your main job. I have seen many cases where that has been done. Do not project your guilt onto your family, the "I'm only doing it for you" thing. You may also need to seek outside support, such as by joining a church or seeing a life coach. Alpha-narcissistic managers. I should warn you that in organisations there are some managers, both men and women, who are predators. These are the corporate equivalent of psychopaths. Their technical name is alpha-narcissists. Whereas a common or garden psychopath is a criminal who kills and maims his or her victims and generally ends up in jail, alpha-narcissists have more control over their impulses and act within the law. Alpha-narcissists are dominant, determined and aggressive. With more control over themselves than psychopaths, they hoard their power and dominate and humiliate those below them by non-physical means. They inflict suffering on those below them in order to maintain their dominance. They are like the evil queen in Snow White, who each day would look in the mirror and ask, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And if the mirror answered that another was fairer, the queen would plot to kill her. Alpha-narcissists enchant by intimidation, rejection, ridicule, by instilling fear. Some are also natural mesmerists. Alpha-narcissists get victim up against the ropes. In order to bully people over a period of time, alpha-narcissists need to have their victim unable to move away. Thus, they must be in a family or business relationship with the person they want to persecute. Accordingly, in business, they dominate and inflict pain by getting into management positions. They are very competitive and bullying their underlings by manipulation and verbal abuse. Know when to run. No matter how much psychological armour you think you have, alpha-narcissists will make your life a misery. One of their principal tactics is to make you feel you're useless. It's all your fault and they're trying to help you. They are masters at manipulation. Some sort of counselling therapy may help you in the short term, but if you find yourself under an alpha-narcissist, get away from him or her as soon as you can, though you may just have to suck it up if you cannot find another job and you need the money. And of course, if you are truly not suited to the job and cannot cope with it, you should be doing your best to find a suitable job anyway. In any event, I would very strongly recommend, before taking any action, you seek advice from wise friends and experts such as employment consultants, as it is difficult to think clearly when you are under this sort of pressure. Be careful not to throw up a job if you do not have another lined up. Thank you for listening.